And we are back for Instant Classic, where we take a break from all the wankers to talk a little bit about serious art. And I was teaching a class on, I'm really excited. I'm teaching a class this semester on painting the Gospels. It's a course that reads the Gospels, gives a chance to students to read the Gospels, and we look at the great painters of Western culture who painted those scenes. We look at Caravaggio and Rembrandt and Da Vinci and Michelangelo and Rubens and Rembrandt. And what we do is we try to make sense of, after reading the stories, what can we process from the literary account of Christ's life, and to see how these genius painters took the stories and captured them in image, oil paint. A really fascinating course. And so we were reading this sort of instant classics. I want to do this particular quote from the Gospel of Mark, chapter 5. It's a famous one. It just struck me as incredibly poignant and beautiful. We talked about it for about an hour in class. And a certain woman, which had an issue of blood for 12 years, and had suffered many things of many physicians, had spent all that she had and was nothing better, but grew rather worse, when she had heard of Jesus, she came in the press behind him and touched his garment. For she said, "If I may but touch his clothes, I shall be made whole." And straightway the fountain of her blood was dried up, and she felt in her body that she was healed of that plague. And Jesus, immediately knowing in himself that virtue had gone out of him, turned about in the press and said, "Who touched my clothes?" But his disciples said unto him, "You seest the multitude thronging thee, and you say, Who touched me?" And Jesus looked round about to see her that had done this thing. But the woman, fearing and trembling, knowing what was done in her, came and fell down before him, and told him all the truth. And he said unto her, "Daughter, thy faith hath made thee whole. Go in peace, and be whole of thy plague." Just beautiful. The faith of this woman. She couldn't get through him because of the crowd. She couldn't out-elbow the disciples and the other dozens and hundreds of people who wanted some kind of healing. But her faith was so strong that she felt, if I can just but get close enough to touch him, that will heal me. And even more beautiful, after she manages to do it, and Jesus, I love that phrase, Jesus noticed that virtue had gone out of him. Not love, not healing. Virtue had gone out of him. And her blood had stanched. She's probably suffering from an endless period here, right? A woman who can't stop bleeding for 12 years. She's been bleeding not just during her time of the month, but every day, every month for 12 years. She's been decimated by this. And at that touch of his garment, her blood stanches for the first time. And she falls before him in fear. And the title of Soren Kierkegaard's great book drops before Jesus in fear and trembling. And he says to her, "Your faith has made you well. Not me, not even my virtue. It is your belief in that I was capable of this that made it happen." Really a beautiful, beautiful scene in a beautiful gospel. And interestingly, it's one of the scenes that's almost hardly ever been painted in Western culture. It's a difficult scene, as you can imagine, to catch on canvas.